Hello, class. It's Michael. Well, according to the Conceptualizing Leadership questionnaire, I scored a four-way tie between the emphasis on skill, behavior, relationship, and process. At first, I found this confusing. I thought to myself, did I do this right? However, I thought long and hard on my perception of leadership and how it's been influenced throughout my years of working in education. I realized that I have worked and learned with so many different types of leaders that I have many different perceptions of what leadership looks like. As the years passed and I've changed jobs and schools and I've been introduced to several types of influential individuals who have shaped my perception of leadership. Slowly, I took apart and evaluated parts of their leadership abilities that I found effective and rejected parts that were not conducive to work or learning environment. However, I also had to evaluate what parts of their leadership I could exemplify and use in my own practice of leadership. Obviously, sometimes certain skills and abilities that other people have just don't translate when I use it, or in certain situations or certain workplaces. One of the factors that I scored high with this questionnaire was behavior. Prior to working in education, I worked for 9 years in the retail industry. Here I encountered many leaders / managers, but only a few that resembled this quality of leadership. These leaders that could show leadership by exhibiting the best of task behaviors and relationship behaviors, the ones that are not afraid to work hard like the rest of the employees, be organized and make employees feel included and comfortable in the work environment. Overall, very well-rounded individuals. I often admired and followed these leaders. For example, I had a manager when I worked at a furniture store that was good at training us, very good at building relationships, small talk, stuff like that made us feel included, made us feel like we weren't just employees, but we were also, colleagues. We were almost equals. And we flourished under that person's leadership. So those kind of qualities I pull from and I think are very important. The other factor is relationship. I think it's echoed in a lot of other videos that I've watched from my classmates. Relationship is an extremely important piece, and it tends to be used a lot when you're in leadership. Currently, I'm not in a leadership role. I'm more of a specialist. I kind of work on the side, but when I was a leader, when I was a department chair of special education at a high school here in Houston, when I came into the role, the team of special education teachers were divided. Most of the inclusion teachers, these are the teachers who provide in-class support for students with learning disabilities in the general education classroom. Most of them were coaches, and administration usually thought of them as lazy, unorganized. So they were kind of put off to the side as part of that team. But my behavior specialists, resource teachers, these are the teachers that taught modified curricula, and my life skills teachers were considered well-rounded, were respected for working with the students with higher needs. My goal as the new department chair was to unify and build community with my team. So my thought was to build relationships with my team. Seeing as how I learned from retail, that's what worked for me and worked for my colleagues. The previous department chair unfortunately didn't build those relationships with us, so we were not as close. We still did our jobs, but as far as working as a collective, it didn't work out. And so everybody kind of had their own agenda and did their own thing. And so we were never all on the same page. So my goal was to get everybody on the same page and get everybody working towards one common goal. My thought was to build relationships with my team so that we could build trust and work collectively on our common goal to provide the best quality of education to our students and community. This was my 4th year in the district, and I was the transition teacher that worked with 18 plus students from life skills and connected them to employment, post-secondary, independent living services, etc. And so I already had a built relationship with our life skills teacher, our behavior specialist, our resource teachers. So half the battle was already won. My goal now, ultimately, was to reach my coaches, my inclusion teachers. Since the inclusion teachers moved from class to class to support students, I worked to secure my team a decent workspace for them to be able to complete tasks like IEP paperwork, documentation of services, and facilitate administration of assignments such as individual pullout or small group study for the students. I also directed funds in the budget to secure much needed supplies for the team to be able to sort and file their paperwork, as well as reallocate department resources. Like, for example, we had 2 printers for the department. I took one of the other printers because I was the department chair, which is naturally granted to me. And then the other printer I put in their workspace, so that way, since they were the majority of the team, they would have access to a printer so they could print important documents, confidential documents, and not have to wait in line at the big giant copier in the teacher's lounge. These are all actions I wanted to take to show my support for the team, to get a sort of buy-in. And this facilitated instances where I was able to speak with my team members, get to know them as people, get to know them as workers, build trust, support their tasks, working with them one-on-one, improving their practices, having individual trainings and team trainings for all of us to be able to reach a common goal. Sorry if it felt like I read off of the script. I kind of did. I need that kind of guidance when I'm doing videos. Sorry. But all these real experiences. The other 2 emphasis that I had was skill and process. I'm sure I've encountered these, but I don't quite have examples for them. But as I think we go through this class, I'll be able to conceptualize that more. And as I start to pull into my mind and think about examples of that, I'll be able to give that to you guys later on. But for now, those are the primary and secondary factors on how I conceptualize leadership. I enjoyed doing this questionnaire. It was kind of eye-opening for me and kind of put things together on how I view the definition of leadership. Thank you.